Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition, a Tuesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios. Locations across the state of Florida, right there at Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check out the good folks at International Diamond Center. Today's show, we'll have Franz Beard from Gator Media, and we'll have Mike Bianchi from down in Orlando. Has his own show, still works with the Orlando Sentinel, get his thoughts on a little bit of everything. If you missed it last night, the Thunder are moving on to the Western Conference Finals, and the Cavaliers tie up their series. Donovan Mitchell scored 40 in the second half. Let's go to the Titan MR hotline. It's our man, Franz Beard. Good morning, Franz. How you doing?
Yeah, good day today. Beautiful day outside, although we're going to get a little rain, which they say, which I hope soaks us because we're really dry down here.
No doubt about it. We got a couple of questions already coming in for you on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing regarding basketball, Franz. Baron71 wants to know, as of right now, what are your expectations for the Gators next year? Sweet 16, Elite 8, etc.
Final Four.
Final Four.
I think the Gators are going to have the tallest roster in the country and the most experienced roster in the country. You got to remember, these two guys they added in have been playing basketball at the professional level over in Europe. So it's not like they're I mean, it's not college basketball. It's not the United States, but they played a lot of ball games. It's not like they're coming in fresh rookies and all they've done is played high school ball. So they've added to the experience. They've added to the size. One of them 6'9", the other 6'10". It's going to be a really good basketball team. I don't see anybody with the kind of talent Florida's got.
Yeah, I've kind of been out of the loop a little bit on basketball ever since, Tommy said he was coming back. I believe Ruben's coming back.
Yeah.
Where'd the Milanovic, the kid from Iowa State, end up going, Franz?
He's at the NBA Combine right now. Now, and quite frankly, he can shoot his way into the first round. And if he gets in the first round, he is as good as gone. The NBA's turned into a jump shot league. There's no such thing as a post-up game anymore. People used to play it. Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar would be dinosaurs in today's game. Because all anybody wants to do now is shoot jump shots. I think they got to move the three-point line back to 25 feet, which is what it was in the ABA in the day. And I think that would change the game considerably.
Yeah. Rick on the Titan MR text line wants to know our thoughts on the Vanity Fair article on Lane bashing Oxford and all of a sudden becoming a super woke now that he's at LSU. He says, I definitely think we dodged a bullet. I'm going to go first. Well, first of all, Franz, correct me if I'm wrong. This article basically said one of the reasons Lane left Ole Miss was because a lot of the black athletes' parents did not want them to go to Ole Miss, and it was hard for him to recruit him. I don't buy that one bit. I have so many good friends, and growing up an Ole Miss fan, I understand the Confederate flag. I understand Colonel Reb. They've gone away from those things. They don't play Dixie anymore. But there are plenty of black athletes that love the University of Mississippi. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, it's just Lane being Lane.
Yeah.
Lane is going to say outrageous things. I mean, he is the mouth that roared, and he's going to say outrageous things, and he's always going to do things that distract from the reality. He was at Ole Miss, and he didn't recruit black kids. He recruited plenty of black kids, but they all came in through the portal. He did not recruit high school kids, quite frankly, and there's a reason for it. And was he going to admit the fact that the state of Mississippi doesn't have enough high school kids to really form a core SEC roster, so you got to get him from the portal. And he's not going to say that. So what does he say? He says, well, we couldn't get him, they couldn't do this. But he throws this in, and that was just a totally unnecessary. Oxford's a great place. I love Oxford.
I do too. And a lot of people do. So, again, Lane being Lane, no question about that. Franz, let's talk about the Gator baseball team briefly. Going to end the season against LSU, which is hard to believe the defending national champs probably are not going to make postseason. Um, in your opinion, any chance we're a top 8 seed?
We're 11 right now in RPI. If we go in, we're right now the Gators are 34 and 8 and 19. If they were, or 34 and 18, excuse me. If they were to go into to Baton Rouge and sweep, which is entirely possible because LSU basically tossed in the season and has gone with just freshmen and sophomores the rest of the way. They've just told the veterans, you're going to sit and we're going to play the kids. That would put them at 37 and 18. Now, Auburn, which everybody has as a top 4 seed, Auburn's 35 and 15 right now. There's not a lot of difference. If Auburn sweeps this weekend, Auburn would be 38 and 15, or maybe they win 2 out of 3. They'd be 37-16. It's not a lot of difference between 37-16 and 37 and 18. So the Gators have got a legitimate chance to be a top 8 team. Personally, the way they play on the road, I think it'd be better off for them. They're going to host a regional. If you could get by that regional, go on the road for the super regional because they've been the best road team in the SEC all year.
Yeah, that's a good point. Rose Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1770. Now, we've got Franz Beard from Gator Bait Media. Franz, Gator softball. I talked with Scott Carter and JC about this yesterday. I watched the selection show and I was really upset to a point that if the Gators are going to win the regional, but then if Texas Tech wins theirs, we have to face the best pitcher in college softball that took our team to the finals last year. What did you think about the draw the Gators got?
Well, they didn't get an easy one, that's for sure. And if there's an advantage, it is Kennedy she got absolutely roughed up by Arizona State in the Big 12 championship game. Arizona State just hammered her, beat her 4-1. But this was one of those games when the score was closer than the actuality of the game. But you play her in Lubbock, that's not going to be an easy thing to do. So, yeah, Florida got a bad draw, but you got to remember something. They've had bad draws before. They went up to Virginia Tech, I think it was 3 years ago, and Virginia Tech was expected to smoke them, and instead Florida winds up in Oklahoma City. Tim Walton, I never count Tim Walton out this time of the year, just like Kevin O'Sullivan. Sully's been to the College World Series 9 times. Tim Walton's been there, I don't know how many times, but I think it's like 13 or 14 already. He's been at Florida, I think, since 2004, 2005, and he's already been there a bunch of times. So these are coaches that find ways to get their team there. And for whatever reason, Florida plays better in the postseason sometimes than they do in the regular season. Tim does a really good job of getting them ready for that. My concern with the Gators in softball is the lack of pitching. I mean, Keegan Rothrock is the only pitcher.
He's struggling too.
Yeah, well, she's throwing a lot of balls out of the yard. If her rise ball doesn't rise, it stays flat and it goes out of the yard. And not having Ava Brown, who got injured in February, not having Ava Brown has just absolutely killed them because with Ava, you'd have 2 solid pitchers with experience, have pitched in Oklahoma City, pitched in regional games, and know their job. So, You got one pitcher, and you got to hope that Olivia Miller or Leah Stevens or one of these other pitchers can find a way to step it up.
Yeah, and the good thing is that if Texas Tech does win their regional, they have to come to Gainesville, so that will be to our advantage, no question about that. Adam on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, wants to know what your opinion is on a realistic record for Gator football this upcoming season.
Um, it's a really difficult schedule, and I I just believe that they've got the offensive horses. If they can, if the play on the tackles is good, because picking up the big center from that they picked up from Georgia Tech and the guard play, I'm convinced that the interior line is going to be really good. Um, I think they got the best possible center to replace a guy like Jake Slaughter in Harrison Moore from Georgia Tech. Uh, Najee Harris, this will be his fourth year as a starter. He should be pretty darn good on the left side. The right guard is a guy that played for going to be a guy that played for Phil up at Penn State. So they're going to be really solid in the interior. They got to find the tackle play and one of the things I like about Buster Faulkner, Shane, is that he adapts his offense. He's very, very adaptable. And I think they got skill positions that nobody as good or better than maybe anybody in the SEC when it comes to real depth. Great wide receiver room. And I like Jaden Ball as well as any running back in the SEC. So offensively, they're going to be fine. I have two big concerns. One of them is the depth on the defensive line. And I think that could be an issue, but we don't know. Some of these big kids may just, the added strength and everything like that could carry them through. And we've had horrendous play from our safeties for the last 4 years. And the safety plays just got to improve exponentially. If they can do those things, the linebackers are great.
You brought up running back Jaden Ball. The three top running backs in the SEC are Jaden Ball, the kid from Ole Miss, and Ahmad Hardy from Missouri, who was shot over the weekend at a concert. What do you know about that? Is he going to be able to play football again?
From all indications, it's going to be a slow recovery, but they'll know better about that. I'm proud, physically he's going to be able to. You wonder about the trauma of something like that. Emotionally, do you handle it? A lot of guys, as you've seen through the years, they have a big injury, and so many guys. And I look at this the same way I would a football injury in that it is a traumatic. And how many guys have you seen over the years, Shane, that couldn't come back from an injury and it was all between their ears? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to handle the mental part of it coming back from that kind of an injury.
Florida Crackers, the brand for original Floridians, great food and Southern hospitality. Visit us in Brooksville, Florida, or visit Florida Cracker Oyster Bar in Keystone Heights. Friends, we got a text here from Gary on the Titan More text line. Friends, if the Gators had to play today, who is the starting quarterback?
I gotta believe that they're going to start Aaron Philo. I don't know how long he's going to be the starting quarterback, because Tramel Jones has great footwork. I like his arm. I like his release a lot. But Aaron Philo has 3 years already of knowing what Buster wants out of him. And it's hard to beat that. You spent a lot of years on NFL rosters because you had it between the ears. You could pick up an offense like that. We don't know how quickly that Tramel Jones is going to pick this offense up. I think from a physical standpoint, I think he's the better prospect of the two. From a standpoint of what's between his ears, we won't know that for a while.
Yeah. I think both of them are going to get a lot of playing time this year. It's just a gut feeling that I get. Um, Marone71 on YouTube, brought to you by Claude Pond, says, is Franz down to join Buddy's Bring Back Gator Bait movement? We need him to help spread the good word.
Well, I look at it like this. If it was good enough for Lawrence Wright to swing to stand in midfield and hold a flag and scream, "If you ain't a Gator, you're Gator bait," it's good enough for me.
And then we got a text here on the Titan MR text line from John. We also had a comment on it somewhere, either Facebook or YouTube. What is the status on Denzel Aberdeen?
Well, I wrote about that this morning, and I think Denzel Aberdeen got a boost from an unexpected source, the NCAA yesterday. Here's what the NCAA did yesterday. Frank Kepnon, who transferred to Kentucky from Washington. This will be his 7th season. They granted him the waiver. 7 seasons. He started in the year 2000. He began at Oregon, spent 2 years at Oregon, played 4 years at Washington, and now he's at Kentucky, which shows you how desperate Kentucky is for players, for one thing, or to get a guy that's in his 7th year and he's never averaged double figures in either scoring or rebounding. But they granted him the waiver. They also grant, that has to work in Denzel's favor, because now they're saying, well, he was injured, he didn't play a lot of games. Well, Denzel only played 36 minutes as a freshman at Florida. So this has got to be helpful for him. The other thing is this. If the NCAA in its infinite wisdom decides against him, he can go the Trinidad Chambliss route. And I know there are attorneys lining up who would love to take on the NCAA. He'll have no problem with that. And do you have any doubts that he could find a friendly judge in Gainesville or the state of Florida that might help him out a little bit? I would say I feel 99.9% certain that Denzel Aberdeen is going to be playing for the Gators next year. And I feel 99.9% certain that Ruben Chinyelu will be back as well.
Friends, was it just a proposal, or is it going into effect? You got 5 years for college sports now.
They're going to, what the NCAA committee has proposed is that it does not grandfather in people. And this is another reason why I think Denzel will win this case if it ever went to court. Because how are you going to say, well, starting now, guys who are on the roster already can play 5 years, okay? But they couldn't have been seniors. That's exclusionary, and I think the NCAA would have a very difficult time defending that in court. So it's going to go into effect starting in the fall, 2026, 2027 athletic year. But they're excluding the guys who were seniors this past year had already played 4 years. I believe that won't stand up in court. And I've talked to a couple lawyers who tell me they think the same thing, that either way, let me put it this way, there's going to be a ton of challenges anyway. If you look in the transfer portal, the moment they came out with they're going to set that new rule, look at all the guys who were seniors that went into the transfer portal. And for most of them who went into the transfer portal, the reason they did was because their school may have already used up all its NIL money. So they're looking for somebody that still got some NIL money that can take them on. Because you'll make more money in NIL money playing college basketball now if you get with a power program than you will in the G League. I mean, my gosh, the G League is starvation wages. I mean, this guy's
No doubt about that.
Speaking.
Rick on the Titan MR text line asked me, when I was in college, which sports did I follow the most or attend, if any? I would say basketball and baseball, because that's what I played growing up. That's when I first started playing golf too. So
You were a hell of a high school baseball player.
yeah, I wish they'd had a 3-point line when I played high school ball, but they didn't. I had a hell of a basketball team I played with as well. But Yeah, I football was my least favorite sport growing up. It was baseball and basketball, way more than football, but football paid for school. Mom and dad said you're going to play football. Um, so friends, somebody on Facebook Live or YouTube wanted to know, do you cover the other sports like lacrosse and track and the ones that don't get a whole lot of publicity?
No, because there's only one of me. And, we got 21 sports at the University of Florida. And, I love Mouse Holloway and what he does. I think he is the greatest coach in college sports, period. You
Mhm.
look at all the championships, everything, nobody can touch him for what he's done. I think the only one who can come close to touching him is Gino Auriemma at UConn with all the championships he's won. But Mouse is a great coach, and I love him. I love the gymnastics stuff and Tim Walton and softball and baseball. And everything. There's just too much stuff. And right now you got track, you got tennis, you got golf, you got softball, you got baseball going on. There's one of me, and there ain't but and there's too many sports.
This day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life for over 90 years at Campus USA Credit Union. Um, Tell me if you remember this, Franz. Well, it went away. Here it is. In 1955, Chicago Cubs Sam Toothpick Jones is the first African American to pitch a no-hitter, winning 4-0 over the Pittsburgh Pirates at Wrigley. You know who Sam Toothpick Jones is? Never heard of him.
Actually, he pitched later on for the Giants. So yeah,
Did
I
he
had
did he did he pitch with a toothpick in his mouth?
when he came up from the Negro Leagues, yes, he did.
Like
That
the only guy I remember with the toothpick was UL Washington. Remember him for the
yes,
Royals?
I do. Yeah, yes, I did. And he later on played for the A's too, I think. But yeah, really fast guy that could do it all. We had some real characters back in the day, and that's one of the things that I was talking to somebody the other day, and one of the things I miss is the real characters that we used to have in all sports. I mean, goodness. I mean, you remember growing up, in the 90s, you'd turn on the TV to see what Dennis Rodman was going to do with his hair, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete Maravich, you'd go watch him with the floppy socks and everything like that. We had some real characters in the game, and we don't have that anymore. And I miss that. I miss that. I miss a Yogi Berra who could, make us laugh like hell. Or, I'm sitting at a spring training game, and Casey Stengel points out this one guy and says, "See that guy right there? He's 19 years old, and one of these days he's going to be a star." He pointed out this other guy. He says, "See that guy right up there? He's 19 years old, and one of these days he's going to be 25." You
Yeah.
know, uh, people we miss that these days. We miss the spontaneity of I remember my first college football game I covered. Johnny Vaught comes out of the locker room, and they hand him a cigar and something to drink, and he acknowledged everybody. He was great talking to him and so forth like that. Now, they have this organized press conference where the coach comes in and he spends 10 minutes and then goes off to handle the recruits. Um, I miss Dan Mullen in that respect, because Dan Mullen would sit there and just answer question after question. Dan would talk forever. Um,
I,
Spurrier would talk
I don't
forever.
think you're going to get that with John Summerall.
I hope so. I hope so.
Greg on YouTube brought about quality plumbing says political correctness has ruined the character personas.
Yeah, in a respect, yeah, in some respect it has, because you miss guys saying what they think. Instead, they have to think about what they say. It's not all bad that you got to think about what you say, but you miss the spontaneity, and and you miss the personalities. I miss the personalities. We had, Bear Bryant was a personality. Johnny Vaught was a personality. Steve, you played under one of the greatest personalities there's ever been in Steve Spurrier. I mean, my gosh, I still crack up at some of the things, like when he and Bob Stoops go and they're sitting in inner tubes out at the beach, and he says, Stoopsy, wonder what they're doing up in Tennessee these days.
Yep. Yep. He was a character. There's no question about that. Friends, I'm going to ask you this before we get you out of here, because we talked about this briefly yesterday. Somebody wanted to know which coach in the SEC is on the hot seat. Who do you think?
They changed so many coaches this past year that it's hard to put a handle on it. Shane Beamer definitely is going to be on one, because last year he had Linares Sellers, and he made a bad mistake by hiring Mike Shula as his offensive coordinator. And I wouldn't hire Mike Shula to go get the water for me, on a football team. A nice enough guy, great guy, high character guy, but everywhere he's gone, they failed. I mean, that's just true. That's reality. I think Shane Beamer is definitely on the hot seat. Kalen DeBoer, I don't know necessarily that he's on the hot seat as much as if he has another 4-loss season, I think he's going to be looking for somebody to go somewhere and do some things. I keep hearing up at Missouri that Eli is going to go somewhere. I don't think he's not on the hot seat, but he's a guy that I could see moving somewhere. Ole Miss is going to give Pete Golding a chance, but if he doesn't produce this year, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people up there. You got to wonder how quickly they're going to turn on Josh Heupel up at Tennessee if he doesn't come through this year. The last year was a disappointing year for them, and he supposedly had his quarterback, and now he's got two nobodies that are going to be vying for it. One of them's a true freshman, the other one's a redshirt, and I think between the two of them, they've thrown 2 passes in college football. So that's another one that's out there. But you look at the places where we've had change. We had change at Arkansas. We had change at LSU. We had change at Ole Miss. We had change at Florida. We had change at Kentucky. That's a lot of change for this conference.
Yeah.
Auburn had change as well. That's 7 right there. More than half the teams in the SEC changed coaches this year. And you look the year before, you had 2 or 3 others then. So it's a really weird time with so many coaches. It's when there used to be this unwritten rule that you gave a coach 5 years. Then it kind of became 4, and then it became 3. And, as John Summerall's pointed out, he says, hell with this 4-year plan. He says, I'm going to win now. And he knows better. He knows that you've got to do it now. Hot seats, there's going to be a lot of them this year, though. I think we may see some turnover at some major jobs this year as well. I think they're getting really tired of Lincoln Riley out at Southern Cal. They've grown really weary of him. And some of these Big Ten schools that have more money than they got brains are going to spend a lot of money as well. So it's going to be an interesting year. Going to have a lot of coaches changing jobs, I think.
Franz, good stuff as always. Appreciate your time. Have a great day, and we will talk to you soon, my man.
Take care. Appreciate it.
That is Franz Beard from Gator Media. Join us on the Titan No More Hotline. Quick time out. Come back. We'll have Mike Bianchi from Orlando. Join us on the Titan No More Hotline as well. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Landeros Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics, Michael Schneider, PLLC, Florida Legends Gala and Experience, Money Metals, Sensei Asian Bistro. Our gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Florida Cracker Oyster, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, International Gold and Diamond, Advocare, and MGA Wealth. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook or YouTube. Listen to podcasts wherever, on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, be sure to call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
The jewelry store with the most likes, the most positive reviews, the most raving fans is International Diamond Center.
IDC is definitely a place that I will come to as long as I live here. This will be my go-to place always.
Literally the best jewelry store in town. You'll make friends for life coming in here. I felt like family from the beginning. The value was extraordinary.
I've got a beautiful diamond on my finger and I'm very proud of it.
International Diamond Center.
I'm very happy to show it off.
At Celebration Point and online at shopidc.com.
Recent price spikes in groceries, healthcare, gasoline, steel, and lumber tell the story of inflation. As the reality of all this inflation sinks in, investors will be acting quickly to diversify and protect themselves, their families, and their assets. Low transaction costs are one reason Investopedia calls Money Metals the best dealer in America. Don't waste any more time. Start protecting your savings today with physical precious metals at moneymetals.com/go.
Gainesville's best-kept secret is finally being revealed. Introducing Sensei Asian Bistro. Located in Celebration Point next to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Sensei delivers a one-of-a-kind Japanese-French fusion experience that's as refined as it is unforgettable. Indulge in signature dishes like our smoked New York strip, Chilean sea bass, matcha curry, or the crave-worthy Chunggang chili chicken. Pair it all with handcrafted cocktails, fresh crudo oysters, or our premium A5 Wagyu tataki. Sensei Asian Bistro. Make your reservation today.
Back to the International Diamond Center Studios, real estate attorney Michael Schneider can help you save thousands in real estate commissions whether you are buying or selling. And Michael also provides buyer representation. Michael will watch out for your best interest. Learn more at maschneiderpllc.com. Back to the Titan More Hotline, our man Mike Bianchi from the Orlando Sentinel. You can also listen to him in the afternoons from 3 to 6 down in the Orlando area. What's up, Mikey?
What is happening, Shaner? Always good to see you and talk to you.
All right, let's start first. We've had some texts come through on the Titan MR text line. Is Billy Donovan going to be the next coach of the Orlando Magic?
I think Billy Donovan would like to be the next coach of the Orlando Magic. Obviously he's right near the top of the list. Everybody remembers, I wrote a column the other day, what a great full circle moment it would be. 19 years ago, of course, Billy took the job with the Magic for a day and then changed his mind and went back to the University of Florida. And that was a big, big controversy, obviously, not just in college basketball, but in NBA circles. I think it'd be great if Billy sort of ended his career at, the job that he was going to take 2 decades ago. He's still really highly thought of in NBA circles, even though he didn't have much success with the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls sort of overachieved. They had a bad roster. Well, the Magic have a pretty good roster, if you ask me. It's a good job. I think Billy Donovan would take this team to the next level. He can still coach, obviously. He's an all-time great in college basketball, and I think he's a good NBA coach. as well.
Yeah, I hope it works out. I think that'd be a great story and good for the Magic as well. Baron71 on YouTube, brought to you by Claude Plummer, says, what's Mike's thoughts on the fake news that Indiana was the most recent, quote, first-time champ since the 96 Gators? I mean, what about UCF?
Yeah, the 2017 UCF team. They are, by the way. I know how everybody loves to make fun of UCF for the self-proclaimed national championship, but it is recognized in the NCAA record books. I think it was the poll that voted UCF, the Kali Matrix. I believe it was the Kali Matrix poll.
Never
Had
heard of
you
that.
Yeah, look it up. Look it up in the NCAA record books. UCF is recognized as a national champion. Sort of like back in the good old days, Shane, when Auburn or somebody would claim a national championship, given out by the Opelika Canasta Club or something like that. You know how all these schools claim national championships, that a certain the UPI national championship. So the Kali Matrix is sort of like that.
So speaking of that, because I had a discussion on this program with, I don't know if you know Pizza Bill Feinberg, who's been a part of Gator football for many, many years. He is trying to get the 84, the 85, and the 1990 teams recognized as SEC champs and put back in the swamp and in the indoor facility. They reinstated all of Vernon Maxwell's
right
scoring records. Today's world, guys are making millions of dollars. Give me your thoughts on those three teams. Do you think they need to be recognized as champs?
You know what? Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, especially the 90 team.
90 did nothing wrong.
Yeah, 90 did nothing wrong. Spurrier was the new coach. It was, in my mind, minor indiscretions under Galen Hall, where he gave, Jarvis Williams money to pay his child support payment. Those were minor indiscretions. Now, the 84, 85 Charlie Pell teams, those were some pretty serious allegations. But as you mentioned, in today's world, the allegations of paying players that Charlie went through, those would be minor today. I mean, I went back, I wrote a column. I talked to Ward Pell, Charlie's wife. I don't know, it's probably been a year or two ago. And we were just talking about, NIL today and, sort of how Charlie was ahead of his time, even though it was illegal back then. One of the things Charlie got in trouble for, one of the quote unquote major violations, was a Gator booster. I believe it was down in Palm Beach County somewhere. This Gator booster who was a rancher, Shane. He was a rancher, and he delivered like a side of beef to some recruit's house. And, I guess, the family loved, they had beef for the wintertime. So they loved this booster and they signed with the Gators. That was the sort of violations that were going on back then. Yeah, there was the occasional used car, but yeah, mainly it was minor stuff in today's world.
Yeah, and Reggie Bush was getting payments, and they stated his Heisman Trophy. So I think it's been a long time. I think all three of those teams need to be recognized. I will tell you this, Mike, being on the radio broadcast and going to all the different stadiums that I walk around, once we get off the bus to waste time, everybody, Auburn and Ole Miss and these people, I'm like, y'all did not win those national titles or those SEC titles or SEC West titles. I'm like, and they have it all over their stadiums now. So,
right.
I think with our new renovations, we need to do it. That's just my 2 cents. Whether it's right or wrong, that's what I believe.
By the way, real quick, let me ask you a question real quick. You were just talking about Ole Miss, being the Mississippi native that you are. What did you think about Lane Kiffin essentially saying in Vanity Fair, hey, it's easier to recruit at LSU because there's more diversity in Louisiana?
I disagree with that 100%. You should, I'm on Twitter and I'm somehow linked in with a lot of Ole Miss Twitter talk.
Right.
Especially the black athletes. that have gone to Ole Miss are raising hell about this, because if you go to Oxford, Mississippi, it's an unbelievable college town that they embrace no matter black, white, yellow, it doesn't matter. Um, that's Lane being Lane, man. I
Plus,
disagree.
it's like it's not like Lane Kiffin's in like I don't know New York City or something. He's like
He's
in
in
Baton
Baton
Rouge.
Rouge.
Yeah, he makes it sound that's like a guy who leaves Applebee's to go to Chili's and he's bragging about the international cuisine at Chili's or something. Come on.
Yeah,
You're in Baton Rouge.
exactly. It's not. I love Ole Miss. Nobody will ever change my mind on.
Although I do remember I remember back in the day, I think it was Jack Jackson, the old Gator receiver. I think he took some shots at Ole Miss when you
He
guys
may
played.
have.
Yeah,
I mean, I would say way back when I was a kid, they used to hand everybody that walked in the gates of the stadium a rebel flag,
right.
the little flags you could stick out your car window. They played Dixie. They had Colonel Red roaming the sidelines. Which I think is a great mascot. But I understand people's issues with it. But no, the black athletes that have been at Ole Miss in the past and they're not happy with those comments at all. Speaking of football, we got a lot of text and stuff about what are your thoughts on John Summerall?
We had him on our radio show. I don't know. It's been a couple months ago now. I think my thoughts are the same as everybody else's. I mean, the guy is a breath of fresh air, obviously. He's charismatic. He's quotable. He's candid. He has an attitude and an edge about him. I do think and I'm not one of these guys that whenever, like, for instance, all right, like Edgar Thompson, our University of Florida writer at the Orlando Sentinel, he wrote a story the other day about the new strength and conditioning staff at Florida under Summerall, and just obviously raving about it and how much better it is than the way it used to be. And I shy away from those sort of stories because every time a new coach takes over, you always hear, "Oh, the strength and conditioning is better. Their defense is going to be more aggressive," and all of this stuff. You hear it all the time when there's a new coach. Our team's going to be bigger, stronger, and faster. I don't know about any of that stuff. All right, I don't know about the inner workings and the infrastructure of Summerall's program as compared to Billy Napier's. You probably know more about that than I do. I just know from the outside looking in, the guy has, creates a sense of excitement. I do think he's created some accountability within that program. And just the fact that he's got Gator fans excited with his offseason rhetoric and his interviews and his candidness in front of the camera, I think is great. We'll see if he can coach. I told you this before we went on the air. I thought Muschamp was going to be a great coach. I thought Mullen was going to be a great coach. I thought Napier, with his organizational skills and all of that, would be a good coach. So, hell, what do I know about college football coaches?
Let's switch gears to the professional ranks. Two-part question. I think it's not this season, but in 2 years, the Jags will be playing in Orlando. How do you think Orlando is going to take in the Jags? Are they going to sell the stadium out? They're going to tarp the upper deck of Camping World. What are they going to do there? And then any chance the Rays move to Orlando?
Oh, I think Orlando is going to go crazy for the Jaguars. This is the biggest city in America that doesn't have an NFL team, doesn't have a Major League Baseball team. It's the 14th rated TV market in the country, and the NFL, as we know, is the king of all sports. I think Orlando's been waiting for either the Bucks, the Jaguars, or even the Dolphins to sort of cultivate this community and put some roots down here. The Bucks used to train here years ago, but that stopped. I think Orlando is going to fall in love with the Jaguars. I really do. The Camping World Stadium is being renovated. It will be renovated by the time the Jaguars are here in 2027. And all the city leaders say they think it's going to be sold out. I think it's one of the reasons the Jaguars picked Orlando is they know I mean, this is a powerful media market here in Orlando. I realize it's considered like, Disney and Mickey Mouse and all of that. But when you look at the demographics of this city, it is huge. It's sprawling. It's right in the middle of the third biggest state in the country. So, yeah, I do think Orlando will support the Jaguars. As far as Major League Baseball, I think we're going to see what happens with the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays and the city of Tampa have to come. They have to, I say that. But I think it's called a memorandum of understanding, which is political jargon for, hey, come June 1st, the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County have to alert the Tampa Bay Rays, hey, we're going to move forward on this new stadium project at Hillsborough Community College. That's the latest site. And if the city of Tampa gets it done, then I think the Rays obviously are going to stay in Tampa. But the Rays' new ownership, Governor Ron DeSantis himself has said, hey, if Tampa doesn't get it done, Orlando is next in line. And again, look at the TV market. Look at the size of this city in Orlando. Look at the number of tourists. 80 million tourists come to Orlando every year. Don't tell me a lot of those tourists wouldn't be attending baseball games. I mean, yeah, you go to Disney during the day, but Shane, you've been on vacation with your kids. Don't you want to go to a baseball game or something at night?
Yeah, and honestly, this may sound terrible, but there's nothing worse than going to Disney.
I agree.
I will pay for anybody to take my grandkids and when my kids are little. I will come mow your yard just so I don't have to go to Disney. It's just awful. All those parks. I don't do rides, first of all. So anyway.
You get a little queasy stomach when you get on the roller coaster.
No, I've never been one of those kind of guys. And I think I did Space Mountain and I was holding on for dear life. And this was, 40 years ago. All right. So we got a question here from Ace on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mountain Law. He says, Mike, a question about the Jaguars. As you know, their city's investing $500 million into their new stadium. The new stadium is going to have a SoFi Stadium look. Shad Khan is building a huge marina and Four Seasons Hotel across the street, an entertainment district and part of the parking lot. What are your thoughts on the Jaguars doing a game every year in Orlando until Orlando gets their own team?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously, I would love to see that. I do think the Buccaneers are going to Raymond James Stadium is going to have to be renovated here in the near future. The Bucs are trying to get money from the city of Tampa to renovate that stadium. So if the Jaguars experiment is a success here in Orlando, I think the Bucs will probably be playing a season here as well while Raymond James Stadium gets renovated. I don't think the Jaguars are going to be playing a game per year in Orlando because there's as the texter just mentioned, there's the city of Jacksonville spending tons of money to get that stadium built. So they're going to want as many home games as possible in the city of Jacksonville. And Shad Khan is committed and has been committed for the last decade or so about playing a game or two in London. So I think they should forego London and play a game in Orlando, especially after they cultivate this market in 2027. But I question whether that will happen.
Atlantic Roofing, your roofing experts for residential commercial roofing with more than 50 years of local experience. A few more minutes with Mike Bianchi from the Orlando Sentinel. Bringing up the Orlando game, I guess why? Oh, I think it was in a home game for Mississippi State. I think in 1991 we played Mississippi State in the Citrus Bowl, but I think it was a home game for Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that game?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just, the reason I was thinking about, because I remember back when Kerwin played, the Gators played in the old Sombrero.
Right, in Tampa.
I guess that the universities lose so much revenue playing those games away that you don't see those neutral site games within the state anymore. Is that what it is?
You still see them. I mean, you still see them. Like Florida played Miami here a few years ago.
Yeah.
Florida played Miami and Orlando a few years ago. I do think with what's going on with the bowls and the expanded playoff, I do think the bowls, like the Citrus Bowl, like the Is it? It's not still called the
Pop
Outback
Tart. You
Bowl.
got the Pop Tarts Bowl.
The Pop Tarts Bowl, the Gator Bowl up in Jacksonville. I do think these bowls are going to probably go to the model of, hey, let's see if we can, spend a bunch of money and give teams a bunch of money to play early season games in our bowl games, and that would be the Gator Bowl. Maybe you have Florida playing Miami in the Gator Bowl on August 28th or whatever the date is. But I think that's going to be the bowl model because the bowls, obviously, in the postseason are dying a slow and painful death. So they're going to have to do something with the bowls if they want to survive. And that would be the only alternative is to make the bowl game the first game of the season.
All right, before we get you out of here, last thing, I got a text. We get this text for every guest, it seems like. It's from Joe. He says, Mike, who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback for the Florida Gators?
Oh, God. Shane, why would they ask me that question when you're right there?
You have inside scoop, Mike.
No, you have inside scoop. You're right there. You're a Gator great, a Gator legend, on the radio broadcast team. You talk to the coaches. Why would they? I talked to John Summerall John Summerall, not Pat Summerall, John Summerall. I've talked to him one time, and that was on a radio interview that lasted 15 minutes. Who do you think is the starting quarterback is going to be, Shane Matthews? Because you have a lot more credence than me.
I mean, I don't talk to the coaches about this. I go by what I hear John Summerall talk about in his press conference and on this media tour that he's done, all around the state. It's a body of work. I still feel like it's going to be Aaron Philo. That does not mean Tramel Jones won't play or may not play. It may be the starter week 4. We don't know. But I just think the body of work from his relationship with Buster Faulkner in the system,
Right,
and what he did throughout the spring, not what he did in a scrimmage, in the orange and blue game or whatever. I think it'd be Philo. I could be wrong. I mean, there's still time for Tramel to win the job. There's time for Will Griffin. I think Will Griffin has a chance to be really good. I like him a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, but he's a true freshman. Still should be in high school. I don't think he's in the mix to be the starter this year. I would love to see him being redshirted, although in today's world, you don't really redshirt kids anymore. Here's what I tell people. I don't care who the quarterback is. There's some people that want it to be Tramel. There's some people that want it to be Philo. They argue about it. Trust Buster Faulkner, who has a great track record with quarterbacks, that he's going to put the best player out there for us to win games. That's all I care about. All I care about.
I do wonder though, if you're a transfer and you transfer into a school, and coaches always say, "Well, we're not assuring them of a job." Why wouldn't you, like Philo? Wouldn't he want an assurance that he's going to start?
You would think so, and again, we don't know how much money they're making. Maybe Georgia Tech offered this, and then Florida offered that, and you're like, "Whoa, I'm going here no matter what."
Right.
I don't know, but kids want to play. So I hear your point.
Plus, I guess maybe he doesn't have. I mean, it's not like he was Carson Beck. I mean, he didn't. He wasn't.
Well, I bet he's still making over $1 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, Mike. It's not
Absolutely.
That's what they pay you at the Orlando Sentinel. Mike, let everybody know how they can listen to your radio show and read all your great stuff.
Yeah, you can read me at orlandosentinel.com, obviously. You can find us at FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740. Also, we're on in Jacksonville, AM 930 Fox Sports Radio, every 3 to 6 p.m. We're trying to get on in Gainesville. They didn't want us up in Gainesville in the afternoon.
Well, they're loaded up with Cardozo's show.
Actually, we tried to get on in the morning in Orlando back when I was doing in Jackson. I'm sorry. We tried to get in the morning in Gainesville when I was doing the morning show, and they said they wanted to run the national show. I said, okay, fine. You run the national show then.
Mikey, appreciate your time, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, Shaner.
That is Mike Bianchi. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. The Pouncey twins, Mike and Marquise, invite you to try the mango martinis at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, handcrafted with their J.F. Hayden liqueurs. Try those flavors or find your favorite at shopjfhaydens.com. Again, thanks to Franz and Mike for joining the program. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.